got ourselves a 2016 Chevy Silverado for yet another badge removal. So a couple things I want to add. First, if you are a person with a Chevy Silverado or a GMC and you want some professional service, you can use my link that will be located in the show more box below this video. You can reach out, give me a call for your own professional service. I will either come to you or you can come to me. In this situation, this guy drove in from Long Beach because he wanted it done right. But for you detailers, a couple things I'm going to talk about. What I have learned is that with cars, anything goes. Now this is a brand new truck. It has approximately 270 miles on it. That's it. It's that brand new. But I always confirm with the customer just to verify that it is stock paint, that no repaint has happened, because people can get in accidents at any point. That's why they're called accidents. And we have the trip from the factory to the dealer to the customer, so on and so forth. I confirm with the customer, but each panel I also check myself to see for repaint, because then that could represent problems. I also double confirm with the customer which emblems he wants off, or she, as sometimes the case may be. So it's all about verify but trust and re-verify. So when he showed up, I went back around, even though we talked about this extensively on the phone, and just to confirm, okay, both doors, all the emblems off the rear. Because I've had a situation where I was removing some decals, and the guy said, oh yeah, I want all the decals taken off. And then when he came out, he's like, well, Darren, why did you take off those? And I said, because you said you want all the decals taken off. He goes, no, I meant just the lettering. I didn't mean the stripes. So it was a moment of miscommunication. So I've learned to confirm. That's my little lesson for the moment. Now, something I also like to do is do a visual inspection around each emblem. Because let's say, for example, that there's a little chip or a factory blemish from the factory, like a little fisheye in the paint. I want to do a visual inspection beforehand so I can let the customer know. It's like, hey, and show it to them and say, hey, check this out. I didn't want you to think that I did that in the removal process. So once again, it's all about covering your ass. Risk management. Down here it gets a little awkward, so I thought I'd put up a little bit of tape. Once again, trying to manage my risk based on if you're left-handed, right-handed. So that's your call to make. Now it's time for the final adhesive removal, because there's always going to be trace levels of adhesive and some of that actual double-sided tape that you did not remove entirely with the eraser tool. So this is where my rapid remover comes into. Now this stuff is the bomb. It is by far the best tar and adhesive remover I've ever used. Now, just as a caution, I keep it from dripping onto the vinyl. Not that it would damage the vinyl, but it would clean it and maybe spot it up if I allowed it to drip on it. So I contain my mess in that moment. And there's just going to be little pieces here and there. You just got to feel with your finger. And once again, a lot of you may be looking at this paper towel and think, oh my gosh, scratching. But it's not scratching the paint, trust me on that one. I'm using it very cautiously and gently. What's that?
I'd spend all day doing this.
Well, yeah, it's like a lot of things. You know, if you have all the right tools and everything, but by the time you chase down all those right tools, and then it really is a moment where there's a lot of fear into it. You know, if you haven't done it over and over again, you're like, oh man, what if I screw up this part, or how hot do I get it? And that big Chevy Emblem, that thing is a bitch.
That's where I started. So much. I don't know if you noticed, one edge was a little bent. I tried with dental floss, and
oh yeah,
I'm like, that's why I called you when I talked to you. I said I'm scared because
yeah, it's really I mean, this is 25-pound test fishing line, and I break 4 or 5 different things because I mean, you got to think about it. This stuff's meant to last a lifetime,
right?
And it's just, that big Emblem is nasty. These smaller ones,
not
much
as
different.
bad.
But then it comes to the actual adhesive, you know, the double-sided tape that's left underneath.
Right, and I'm going to massage a hole in the door, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I figured, you screw up,
yeah.
And I only say that, and I don't mean this by you fix, but you got the tools to fix it. Where
yeah,
me, I got to
yeah.
go, oh shoot, how do I sand that down? Just another project to take care of, you know?
Yeah, and that's what, you know, when you put yourself out there with videos, you know, you have the world scrutinizing you.
Oh, yes.
And they'll say like, oh, I see you use that paper towel on the paint, man. You're going to scratch the crap out of it. It's like, well, A, you're not here. You have no idea how much pressure I am or am not using. And B, I only do things I know I can fix. So if I know that I'm going to abrade the paint because I need to cut to the chase, I also know that I can polish the paint if I needed to and make it perfect.
Right.
But, you know, you get those
internet
trolls and...
I know, armchair quarterback, armchair, detailer. It's like if some people come to the shop, man, I did my brakes. It took me all day to do one wheel. You know, it's just,
yes.
You do your job. You're used to...
Let the experts do what they do best. And that serves a few purposes too, because A, it lets them know that, because honestly, when it comes to the internet, anyone can misrepresent. I mean, let's say my buddy bought this brand new truck, and I say, hey dude, I gotta make a video. Let me take the emblems off. It's like, well, I don't want the emblems off, and I don't trust you anyway. It's like, okay, I'll pay you $100, just let me do it. I gotta shoot a video. And so on the video, I say, oh yeah, I've got this guy, he drove in 3 hours from up north because he found me on YouTube, and he's going to pay me whatever.
Okay,
you know, I mean, you literally can say anything. And I see some of these other channels, and I've been in the business long enough to know it's like, okay, this doesn't make sense. You know, this guy's got his own product line. It's like, well, guess what? Most people don't know what private labeling is, and they think, man, this guy must be hitting it out of the park. He's got his own private label. It's like, well, anyone can do that. All you have to do is save up a little bit of money, and they'll repack it. You know, there's companies that's all they do is private label for other industries. So as often as I can, I like to really, in the name of transparency, show people, take, hey, this really is my world. I really live this. You know, it's not the classic case of those that can do and those that can't teach. It's like, well, yes, I am teaching you, but guess what? I actually do it. I do it for a living. I still make a living off of it, but I'm making these videos to help you guys through a learning curve that I had to learn the hard way because we didn't have the internet back then.
I was thinking about that too, just getting here. You know, back in the old days, you'd have to tell me how to get here.
Yeah, you'd be all writing it down. Exactly. Yeah. Now you can just, Siri, give me directions. Where would you like to go, Darren? I would like to go back home. I'm at a place I've never been and I can't find how to get back home. Okay, Darren, finding directions.
And when I was leaving your house and I said that comment about, it seemed like you've been around the block. And because I'm a dummy, so what I meant was exactly how you're explaining things, and you have a good personality. It's like you have nothing to hide. Like at the shop, I don't know what I would do different. I know what works for me and what gets. A lot of women like to come to my shop because I don't mind.
Explain.
Yeah, if I did it right, why'd you have to change? Why'd you have to change the rotor? But like, say I had to put a rotor on, I'll go over there and I'll show them, and just explain it to them because, like me, I'd rather spend my money with somewhere where I understand what's going on instead of just saying, "Hey, it's done. Here's my money.
Right.
See you later. Thank you." And the other part is what's nice about your video is you're not worried about your competition taking your work. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to hold all these trade secrets in. So this guy down the street, because even though you see it on the video and all that stuff, you still got to do it. And then say I do this side, that side, and I get to that, and I pull the paint off or something happens.
Right.
That's like my guys at work. I'm the old timer now, So my guys, I got a newer guy, and he's really sharp, and he's like a sponge, and doesn't want to ask questions a whole lot to make himself seem like probably doesn't know what he's doing. Right. But I'd rather him ask me because I've been down that road a few times. So if I can cut out
the mistakes,
because I've done it already. So
right. And that's what I'm trying to. That's such a valid point because I know what it took to learn how to do this. And I know those, landmines that I stepped on that exploded. Right. And it's like, oh wow! I wish someone had just told me that. But once again, it's 20 years ago we didn't have the internet, we didn't have YouTube, so that's part of it. Is like, well, hey, guess what, guys? You don't have to step on those landmines. I can show you. Now, of course, you're just going to have to learn certain things on your own. I can't show you experience. There's no replacing experience. But I can help you through a lot of the hurdles so you don't have to try to jump over them yourself and avoid those mistakes.
Causing yourself, instead of a 1-hour project, a 10-day project.
Bingo, yes. So that's part of my strategy is to, help guys that way because, shoot, there was no voice of reason in my world growing up. It was just basically, I got to figure it out. Okay guys, I want to take you for a tour on this truck because it's pretty sick. He's already put some accessories in it, got some wheels and tires, got the cool running boards. Essentially we have a black and white theme going on. He already replaced the front Chevy bow tie with the black. So now we've got a more clean look, less busy. Emblems are off. Perfection yet once again. And I was talking to my customer, which by the way, his name actually is John. And I know you guys that have watched a number of my videos, I tend to refer to my customers as Johnny, as in Johnny Customer. This one actually is John.
Really a Johnny too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's what it says on my birth certificate.
You shortened it up. So we really have a Johnny here. And I was asking him because he's a business owner and I'm going to plug. You want me to plug your business? You okay with me showing this?
Sure.
So here's his business card. Let's see if it'll focus in on it. Long Beach Auto Clinic. John Stoop, or how do you pronounce that? Stroop. Okay, John Stroop. It's in Long Beach. You can see the address there. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. So I was talking to him and I told him about my YouTube channel. Do you want to be on here for just a moment?
Try it.
Yeah, you'll look good on camera. Get over here. There we go. Right there. So folks, this is John.
Hello.
And I was asking him because I was telling him that I like to mentor as many people out there as possible. And since he's a business owner, but you took it over from your father's business?
Yes.
And how long have you been grinding now?
32 years.
That's a long ass time, 32 years. And what kind of vehicles do you service?
Mainly Americans and Japanese.
Okay.
We do a few Europeans, but
Japanese and American for the most part.
and anything from oil changes to overhauls.
Very good. Now, something I was asking John, I said, if you were talking to an individual and he was trying to go into business for himself, let's say specifically the auto repair business, is there some kind of advice that you would give to that person? He kind of struggled, but we started talking, and in fact, I think the camera might have been rolling, but you were kind of talking softly, so I don't know if it actually picked up. But something I picked up on, which I think is key, is the fact that you said you deal with a lot of women, because I deal with mostly men, but women also. And the problem, and I see this because I grew up with a house full of women, one mother and 4 sisters. No dad, so it's just me and the girls. And a lot of women really are frustrated because they feel that they're taken advantage of. And I know that it does happen because I've talked to those guys where it's like, oh yeah, this broad calls in and man, I just bent her over and took her. And it's like, dude, seriously? I'm all like, by the way, if you think you're bragging to the right guy,
Right, it's the wrong guy.
Yeah, totally the wrong guy, because I'm the opposite. And John here is the opposite too, because he'll take the time to educate them and let them know it's like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is why we're going to do it. I'm not taking you for a ride here. You really do need new rotors. I'm not just trying to upsell you and make more money. You really do need them. Check them out. This is why they're grooved so much. I can't mill them down. It's going to be past safety regulations, whatever.
Yep.
So I thought that was cool. He'll take the time, which I do with my customers, and I've droned it into their heads. Communication really is king.
Right, so you're always on the same page like you say, and then always believe in the repeat customer. You don't have to take them for everything they got the first time. If you treat them right, they come back and they tell somebody because they trust you, and that's...
Yeah, and that's what I call building equity in that relationship. You know, it's, for me, it's not a one-time moment, because I don't know, I mean, you may or may not call me back in the future.
Right.
Neither of us know that. But I'm always going to operate as though maybe you will. And I, of course, I want you to, so I'm going to build that equity from the beginning, and that starts with communication, obviously delivering a good service, those types of things. So lay that groundwork for long-term results, and that is being upfront, transparency, integrity, all those things. A lot of things that seem to be being engineered out of society today,
yes,
in my opinion.
And the occasional problem, you take care of it. You know what I mean? You just...
See, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up, because I've learned that if you just accept responsibility for that problem, because the customer typically is going to be realistic. They know that stuff happens. They don't want to hear excuses. They don't want to hear how it's not my fault. It somehow is someone else's fault.
Right.
It's like, you know what? There's a problem. I will take care of that problem.
Handle it, get it done, and get on to the next page.
And guess what? That builds trust, it builds reputation, and it builds that equity where it's like, wow, this guy wasn't full of excuses. He took responsibility of it. He fixed it. Man, I'm going to go back to that guy all day long.
I got customers all the time that come in and are going to pick their car up after work. They leave me the credit card, just call me, tell me it's outside, and they put that trust in you. And it feels good, and you got that responsibility, and you don't want to burn them because they'll come back, and it feels good to have somebody have faith in you.
Trust you that much.
It really, it does.
And you work hard for it, and when you have worked hard for it, and you've laid that groundwork, and then you have people show you how much they trust you, Because it's like me. I get phone calls and they've never met me, and we just have a conversation on the phone. They're like, okay, Darren, I'm going to be gone. No one's going to be home. I'm going to hide the keys in the back grill. Help yourself. There's a refrigerator in the garage. There's drinks. There's a bathroom. Help yourself. I should be rolling back home about 3 o'clock. You and I can take a look at it. No big deal. Or they'll do all that and they'll say, and the money's going to be stashed in the car. So just when you're done, lock it, leave it, and I'm sure it'll be just fine.
Right.
And it's like, wow.
That's a nice feeling, you
It
know? So
is.
you're not going to blow it, you know? You're going to follow through.
And in fact, I actually want to over-deliver even more in those situations, because it's like, if someone's willing to put that kind of trust in me, damn sure I'm going to make sure that I don't blow it.
Because it don't take nothing to lose it, you know?
Seriously.
So
that's good. Well, thank you in advance, and I know they're thanking you because they love seeing these moments, because they learn from it every time. So, you know, everyone's different. Everyone's got a little something different to add to the moment. So
thank you, sir.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
much.
Thanks for a fine job.
All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there.